Hello everyone and welcome to another video. Today I'm going to be talking about how to legally change your name in the state of California because that's something that I did recently. If you want to know why I legally changed my name, check out the link in the cards. I'm very happy that I legally changed my name, but it is a bit of a process, so I wanted to talk to all of you a little bit about that today. So if you want to shorten your name or change your name for gender identity reasons, or you like a name better than the one that you're given at birth, keep watching. So of course the first step in changing your name is picking the name that you want to have. If you're changing your first name, I would suggest having other people call you that name so you can see if it's right for you. The name change process is fairly long and expensive, so you really want to be as close to 100% sure before you go and legally change it. Once you've decided on a name, you're going to need to get a copy of your birth certificate. You might have one around your house, or you might need to order a new one. The link to order a new one will be down below. If you weren't born in California, you can still legally change your name in California, but you're going to need to contact your own state in order to get a copy of your birth certificate. The reason that you need a copy of your birth certificate is 1, because you need to know exactly how your name was originally spelled on your birth certificate, and 2, there's other information that you're going to need when you're changing your name at different places like the Social Security office. So after you have your name picked out and you have a copy of your birth certificate, you're all ready to start filling out the forms that you need. If you want to legally change your name in California, you'll need 5 forms, which will all be linked down below. The first form that you'll need is the cover sheet, which just has a bunch of basic information about your case. If you're under 18, one of your parents will have to sign the cover sheet and all of the other forms for you. The next form you'll need is the name change petition. And on this form you'll need to list your contact information, your present name, and your proposed name. When you're filling out the petition and all of the other forms, make sure that you write in pro per, because that will let the court know that you're representing yourself and not using a lawyer. The next form that you'll need is the attachment to the petition. On this form, you'll need to write your present name, your proposed name, why you want to change your name, and what county you were born in. You don't have to change your name in the county that you were born in. I was born in Ventura County, but I changed my name in Santa Clara County, but they still ask for the county that you were born in. If you're changing your name for gender identity reasons, make sure to check this box right here that says this petition seeks to confirm petitioner's name to his or her gender identity. You don't need a doctor's letter or anything to check that box. And basically what it does is it exempts you from having to publish your name in a newspaper, which is something that you normally have to do when you change your name. The next form that you'll need is your order to show cause for name change. On this form you'll need to list your present name and your proposed name, and you'll also need to list the newspaper that you're publishing your name in. The last form that you'll need is your name change decree. If the judge approves your name change, this will be signed and sealed, and you'll be able to use this document to get your name change at the Social Security office, the DMV, your school, your work, and everywhere else. So after you've filled out all of the forms, you're going to want to make some copies of them for your records, for the court, and for the newspaper. 2 copies should be enough, but you can make more if you want to. So now that you have your forms and your copies, you're going to want to go to a county court to file them. If you don't know where your local court is, you can Google it or search it on Yelp. You're also going to want to know what branch of your court deals with name changes. In Santa Clara County, it's the probate division, but that could vary county by county. So you can Google that ahead of time, or you can just ask when you get to the court. So when you show up at the court, you're going to have to go through a metal detector, and then you're going to want to look for the office of the division that deals with name changes in your county. You should have a directory somewhere, and everyone that works there will probably know where it is. So when you get to the office, you might have to wait in line. You might get lucky. There might be nobody in line. When you get called up by the clerk, you're going to want to say that you want to legally change your name, and then you want to turn in your forms. The clerk will look over your forms, and then if everything looks good, they're going to ask you to pay the filing fee, which is $435. The court that I went to took cash, checks, credit cards, and debit cards, but they did charge a fee for credit and debit, so I would suggest bringing cash or using checks if you have those. So then after you pay the filing fee, you'll get your court date. I filed on October 19th and my court date was on December 20th, so it was about a 2-month wait. Your court date will be a minimum of a month after you file. In some counties it only takes a month, but in other counties it can take 3 months. When you're filing, you should really consider the timing, because there will be a period of about a week to a month where you don't have all of your IDs and your name change is being processed, so you won't be able to travel or vote or do anything that requires an ID, because you do have to surrender all of your IDs. So after you file for your name change and get your court date, you're going to need to go to a local newspaper and publish your name for a month. You don't have to do this if you're changing your name for gender identity reasons, but for all of the reasons, you do unfortunately have to do this. This is the newspaper that I published in. So after I filed for my name change, I went to the newspaper office, showed them a copy of my order to show cause, and paid their $65 fee, and that was pretty much it. They took care of everything else for me. They sent the proof of my publication to the court for me, so I didn't have to deal with any of that. And for those of you who are wondering, the publication basically just says that blank is changing his or her name to blank, and the hearing is at this location and this time so that people can come object to your name change. I honestly don't think that it should be anyone else's business, but it's unfortunately part of the process. So hopefully no one will object to your name change, but even if someone does, you'll probably still be able to get it changed as long as you have a good enough argument. After you go to the newspaper office, you just have to wait until your court date, and then on your court date, you just show up at the court, and if no one has objected to your name change, the judge will usually sign it in advance, and you'll just have to go wait in line and pick it up. If someone does object, you'll have to go before the judge and convince the judge to let you change your name. So when you're picking up your decree, the clerk will ask you how many certified copies you'll need. They'll give you an uncertified copy for free, but if you want to get your name changed on your official documents, you'll need certified copies. I would suggest getting 2 or 3, especially if you want to change your name on your birth certificate and your passport. But the certified copies are pretty expensive. They're $25.50 at my court. So if you don't want to spend a lot of money, you can just get one. Once you have your decree, you're going to want to go to the Social Security office so that your new name can be associated with your Social Security number. You're going to need to fill out a form which will be linked down below and also show them a certified copy of your name change. They will then update your name in their system and send you a new Social Security card in the mail. It took me 7 days to get my new Social Security card, but that might vary depending on where you live. So after you change your name with Social Security, you have the ability to get your name changed everywhere. So I'm going to go over some of the common places that you might want to get your name changed at. First place is the DMV. You can update your driver's license, state ID, and voter registration there. I personally updated my ID and my voter registration. For the DMV, you won't need any kind of special form. Just ask for the regular driver's license or ID form, show them your certified decree, and they will change it for you. You do unfortunately have to take a new picture and pay the usual fee of $29. After you take your picture, make sure that you tell them that you want to register to vote, because voter registration is very important. I know that this isn't a video about voting, but I think that absolutely everyone should register to vote and vote. Then after that, you'll just have to wait to get your new ID or driver's license. Mine came in the mail 7 days later. Another thing that you might want to change your name on is your passport. If you already have a passport, you can change it by mail. You don't have to go to a passport office. If it's your first time applying for a passport, you'll have to go to a passport office in person. If it's been more than a year since you got your last passport, you'll have to pay the usual passport fees, which were $135 the last time that I did it. The form that you'll need will be linked down in the description. And if it's been less than a year, which was the case for me, you can change your name on your passport for free. Regardless of what category you fall into, you'll have to show them or send them a certified copy of your decree. And if you already have a passport, you'll have to surrender your old passport. If you're updating your passport by mail, I would suggest using priority mail envelopes. They come in different sizes, and they have tracking numbers that allow you to make sure that all of your documents got to the right place. I personally got my passport 15 days after mailing in all of the forms, but it could take a different amount of time for you. All the passport forms will be linked down in the description. So the last document that you might want to get changed is your birth certificate, and unfortunately you can only get your birth certificate changed if you were born in California. So for that, you'll have to fill out a form called the VS-23, which you actually have to request. So I'll put a link to the request form down below. I honestly don't understand why you can't just print out the form and fill it out, but for some reason you have to request it, but it is free. You'll get 2 copies of the form in the mail, and you'll want to be really, really careful when filling it out because the form will actually become part of your birth certificate. They said to use a typewriter, but I personally don't have a typewriter or know anyone who has one. So what I did was I scanned it and put it into Photoshop and then filled out the form in Photoshop, and then I just deleted the layer that had the form on it, saved the file, and then printed it out over the form. But if you have good handwriting, you can just fill it out by hand. I personally do not, which is why I opted for a slightly more complicated method. With that form, you'll need to submit a copy of your court order, and if you want to expedite the process, you can include a copy of your birth certificate. You also need to include $23, and for me it took 18 days to get my new birth certificate in the mail. Another important place to get your name changed at is your bank. Policies can vary bank to bank. Some banks might require you to have a new ID, but other banks might accept your old ID. If you bank with Bank of America like I do, they do accept old IDs. All I had to do was show them a copy of my court order and my ID and tell them that I wanted to change my name. And then they printed out a form that I signed, and then they changed my name on their system. If you go to work or school, you'll probably want to get your name changed with your employer or your school. Policies can vary, but you'll probably need your decree and some form of ID. If you go to SJSU like I do, I'll put a link to the form down in the description. Another thing that you should probably do pretty quickly is get your name changed with your insurance. Policies might vary by insurance company, but a good first step would just be to give them a call and ask how you can change your name. They might require you to fax over your decree or a form of ID or something like that, or they might just trust you and change it right then and there. Those are all the main places that I can think of that you might want to change your name at. So I think that's pretty much it. If you have any other questions, feel free to leave them down in the comments below, and I'll try to answer them as best as I can. All the links to the forms that I talked about in this video will be down in the description, and also include scans of the court forms that tell you what boxes to check and what to put where. So thank you all so much for watching this video. Click here to subscribe, click here to watch our most recent video. Please share this with anyone who you think might be interested. I love you all so much, and I'll see you all very soon with a new video. Goodbye.